Hello and a very warm welcome to all of you. I'm Meha Bhargava-Jalter and this is Game On, where you get the latest from the world of sports. And today we begin with football. The 2024-25 UEFA Champions League quarter-finalists have been confirmed. Top 8 teams are Arsenal, Real Madrid, PSG, Aston Villa, Barcelona, Dortmund, Bayern Munich and Inter Milan. There you have it. The top 8 teams standing in the Champions League are the ones I just told you about. Now, what transpired in the action from last night, we're going to get all of that for you, but we've got to begin with the game everyone is talking about, Real Madrid and Atletico. Real Madrid beat city rivals Atletico 4-2 on penalties in an edge-of-the-seat thriller, which ended 2-2 after extra time in a raucous atmosphere at Metropolitano yesterday. But what was the double kick penalty controversy that has made Diego Simeone furious? Antonio Rudiger, he converted the winning spot kick for Real after their second leg match finished 1-0 to Atletico thanks to an early goal from midfielder Conor Gallagher. While Vinicius Jr., he missed a late second half penalty for Real. Now, Atletico were fuming after their forward, Julian Alvarez. He had his shootout penalty ruled out by the referee. He slipped and his left foot slightly touched the ball before he kicked it with his right foot, making it 2 touches and invalidating a strike that would have leveled the shootout at 2-2. But the normal replays did not make it conclusive. So, Julian Alvarez's spot kick was controversially ruled out in a manner in which was heartbreaking for all Atleti fans. Now, Alvarez was second on Atletico's list of penalty takers. The Argentine, he stepped up from 12 yards and right before the kick, he slipped a bit. But despite that, he put the penalty just beneath the crossbar. So he put the ball past the helpless Real Madrid keeper Thibaut Courtois. Now, from the naked eye, it looked just fine. But VAR intervened and his penalty was disallowed. Atletico goalkeeper Jan Oblak saved a spot kick by Lucas Vazquez, but Marcus Llorente, he stroked his effort in off the post, leaving Rudiger to seal victory for the defending champions, who are bidding for a record-extending 16th European Cup win. The Spanish side will face Arsenal in the last 8. So after Real grabbed a 2-1 win in a scrappy first leg at the Santiago Bernabeu last week, Atletico started fast when Gallagher scored after just 23 seconds. Atletico were happy and they let their opponents keep the possession, but they still cleared several chances with counter-attacks, and Alvarez was the star for them. Real Madrid finally created a chance to equalize in the 70th minute when Kylian Mbappe was fouled by Clement Lenglet. A penalty was awarded, but Vinicius blasted his shot over the crossbar. Extra time didn't help settle the score, so it went to a shootout. In the shootout, Mbappe, he scored first for Real, and Jude Bellingham was also on target after Alexander Sørloth had netted Atletico's first. Now, this is where the controversy happened. Alvarez thought he had equalized, but following a VAR review, the referee signaled the infringement, leaving the entire stadium confused as it took time for the scoreboard to be corrected. Atletico never managed to recover from that painful heartbreak, and Rudiger scored the winning penalty with a low shot that Oblak got a hand to before the ball deflected off his glove into the back of the net. Atletico coach Diego Simeone, he was not happy. He asked everyone in the press box if they saw Alvarez touching the ball twice, and if they did, to come forward and raise their hand. And when no one raised their hand, he said, "That's all I have to say. Next question, please." So he's furious. UEFA have said that, look, there is not a chip in that ball, in the UEFA ball for the Champions League like we saw in the World Cup, but VAR has separate different individual camera videos to check whether the touch had been made. And after seeing all those video replays is when they decided that he had touched it twice. The jury is still out on this one. There are people who are saying that, look, I think they were unlucky. Listen into both the camps.
When Julian touches the ground with his foot and shoots, the ball is not moving, not even a little bit. But well, I imagine that if VAR called for it, I have never seen in my life that the VAR called for a penalty, but well, that also counts. They should have seen that he touched it. I want to believe that they saw he touched the ball. I have no idea what can make the difference in penalty shootouts. I think you need to choose the most cold ones and those who really feel like it. I still think the penalties are a lottery that can be heads or tails. It went heads for us, but I think Atletico leaves this competition keeping their heads up. They think that the VAR had already detected the two touches of Julian Alvarez's penalty kick because when we realized the doubt was there, they were already checking it from the VAR. I didn't see it before. I have seen it, yes, and I think he touches it with his left foot for the second touch.
I don't know. It's always difficult when you lose, so it doesn't matter. In the end, what imports is that you win, that you pass. We didn't do it, so it's difficult to accept. But you need to because it's not the end of the season. We have a lot of games in league. We are still alive in cup, so we will do our best to be in front in the league and hopefully in final of the cup.
Now, Article 14.1 of the IFAB, which is the International Football Association board, states that the kicker must not play the ball again until it has touched another player. This is for penalties. It's the same law that stops people from scoring a rebound if their own penalty hits the post. And if the same happened from a penalty during regular play, an indirect free kick would be awarded to the opposition. Moving on, Arsenal eased into the quarterfinals of the Champions League with a 9-3 aggregate victory over PSV Eindhoven after a 2-2 draw in their second leg of their last 16 clash. Progress was already a formality for the London club after their stunning 7-1 victory in the Netherlands last week, and when Alexander Zinchenko blasted them ahead in the 5th minute, PSV would have feared another hammering. Ivan Perisic, he replied for the visitors, though, with a sublime finish in the 18th minute to give the thousands of boisterous PSV fans something to cheer about. Declan Rice headed Arsenal back in front from a Raheem Sterling cross before halftime, but PSV earned a deserved reward for a vastly improved display as Kuhab Dorek, he chipped in a 70th minute leveler. Arsenal will play Real Madrid in the last date. The Gunners' only time in the final was a loss to Barcelona in 2006.
They told us that obviously with the result that we had from the first leg that it wasn't going to be full, but yeah, we had to continue and do the work in the manner that we wanted to finish the competition. Unfortunately, we haven't managed to win the game. But yeah, we decided to make a lot of rotation as well. You could tell in the second half that we were tired, we were late to be much more dominant in the opposition half and much more consistent, especially when we didn't have the ball. But overall, very happy because we are for the second consecutive season in the Champions League quarterfinals. We're going to travel to Madrid. It's important because we want to win. I mean, and to win, you're going to have to go through the stages, and because the club needs it. You know, we are a club, a team that wants to be the best and want to be competing with the best clubs in the world. In order to do that, you have to constantly be there, and it's very difficult. But we've done it for 2 years in a row, and we have the capacity and the ability to do it even better.
Now, obviously, I'm really happy with the performance today. I think the reaction was good. We played well. We were not afraid to play our position game, because if you play against an English team, physically, they will outplay you. And our quality is that we have a fantastic position game. We have technical players who are not afraid to play football. We didn't do it 1 week ago. And maybe that was my biggest disappointment, apart from the result. So today, from the beginning, I saw a team who was not afraid to play football. Everybody was involved, even the goalkeeper. and we play well. So happy with the performance.
And Aston Villa marched into the Champions League quarterfinals with an easy 3-0 win over a 10-man Club Brugge in their last 16 second leg, giving them a 6-1 aggregate victory and setting up a far tougher task next against Paris Saint-Germain. Trailing 3-1 from the home leg, Brugge actually began the tie better and gave Villa some early scares, but they faced an impossible challenge after Kylian Save was sent off for pulling down Marcus Rashford while through on goal in the 16th minute. Unai Emery's team took full advantage in the second half, Marco Asensio swivelling and scoring from close range in the 50th minute after a pass from fellow substitute Leon Bailey. Ian Matson, his side-footed Villa's second goal with the help of a deflection 7 minutes later before Asensio swept home in the 61st minute from a cutback by the marauding Rashford to the joy of a packed and bouncing Villa Park. Back in Europe's elite competition for the first time in more than 4 decades, Villa will have to be at their absolute best to beat French champions PSG, who knocked out high-flying Liverpool on penalties at Anfield on Tuesday. Aston Villa's stress-freeing evening at home ensured that England will have 2 teams in the quarterfinals, ensuring their berth in the round of last 8 just a night after Premier League leaders Liverpool were beaten by PSG in that shootout.
I think for our club, it's very important to be in Champions League and to get the quarter final and to play against Paris Saint-Germain. I think it's something we had to be proud of it. This is the level, and we are in this level. We had to be proud, but as well, we want more. And we want now to compete against the better team in the world, the better 18 they are in the Champions League for the quarter final. We are one of them. And of course now our priority is to try to be close the level we are facing. To play quarter final is fantastic. It's fantastic. We are very excited, very motivated against everything we were expecting to play. Of course, to play against PSG is very difficult. They show with their capacity playing against Liverpool, the best team in Premier League, the best team in Europe until yesterday.
Borussia Dortmund, they reached the Champions League quarterfinals for the second year in a row as second-half goals by Emre Can and Maximilian Bayer gave them a 2-1 win at Lille for a 3-2 aggregate victory yesterday. Can scored from the penalty spot to cancel out Jonathan David's early opener before Bayer scored the winner as the German side, who finished runners-up last season, wrapped up a deserved victory. They will face Barcelona for a place in the semi-finals. It was a cruel end for Lille, who had qualified directly from the league phase by finishing in the top 8 thanks to notable victories over Real Madrid and Atletico Madrid. Dortmund will now meet Barcelona in the quarterfinals, where the other 3 games will be Arsenal and Real Madrid. There's going to be Paris Saint-Germain versus Aston Villa, like we told you, and then there is Bayern Munich versus Inter Milan. First leg games are on 8th and 9th of April, with the return matches scheduled 1 week later. Manchester United have a £12 billion ambition. Yes, they plan to build the greatest football stadium in the world. The arena, which will have 100,000 seats, will be built next to the existing Old Trafford. And this will cost them, like I said, £2 billion or $2.59 billion.
This is what Manchester United want their future home to look like. The English soccer club announced Tuesday it plans to build a near $2.6 billion stadium with 100,000 seats in the coming years. United co-owner Jim Ratcliffe.
The Premier League is indisputably the best football league in the world, maybe the best sports league in the world, and it must have a stadium that's at least the equal of the best in Europe. And today it has some great stadiums, but it doesn't have a Bernabeu and it doesn't have a Nou Camp.
Ratcliffe had been open about his desire for a new state-of-the-art ground he called Wembley of the North since joining the club in February last year. The new venue would be next to the existing Old Trafford and the largest stadium in Britain. United appointed Foster and Partners last year to develop a master plan for the area around Old Trafford as part of a regeneration project. The designs, released Tuesday, show the new stadium will feature an umbrella design.
This has to be one of the most exciting projects in the world today.
United say the project could create as many as 92,000 new jobs and will lead to the construction of 17,000 homes. The club added it will be worth an additional $9.4 billion per year to the British economy. Criticism of the current stadium has grown in recent years with issues around its leaking roof and recent rodent sightings. The club has struggled to reach its past title-winning standards on the pitch recently, while its current debt is in excess of $1.2 billion. Redundancies that could result in up to 200 people losing their jobs were also recently announced. Some 250 employees departed the club last year.
Manchester United boss Ruben Amorim accepted the club's co-owner Jim Ratcliffe's criticism of his squad, but said that they are focused on changing his mind after the billionaire said some players were either not good enough or they were being overpaid. Although Ratcliffe gave Amorim a glowing assessment by describing the Portuguese as an outstanding young manager who would be at the club for a long time, he was critical of many players, especially those which came in with big price tags. United are a lowly 14th in the Premier League, 36 points behind leaders Liverpool, and Amorim said their performances merited criticism. Despite the criticism, Amorim said that he has a good relationship with Ratcliffe as they are really blunt and honest with each other, while the Portuguese manager was also happy to hear the co-owner publicly support him. United host Real Sociedad in the Europa League last 16 second leg after the first leg in Spain ended 1-1. There was good news on the injury front as Mason Mount returned to training after recovering from an injury which has kept him sidelined since December. But Amorim said Thursday's game comes too soon for the midfielder. Manuel Ugarte is also back after missing United's last two games, but centre-backs Harry Maguire and Lenny Yoro will not play on Thursday. Amorim is optimistic Maguire will return for Sunday's league match away at Leicester City. The Formula One season is back in full swing as drivers line up at the iconic Albert Park Grand Prix circuit, gearing up for the highly anticipated Australian Grand Prix. The action kicks off on Friday with the first practice session marking the official start of the 2025 season. Lewis Hamilton, he stood out in his striking red kit. You just saw that. While Red Bull's Max Verstappen, he walked alongside his new teammate Liam Lawson. The grid was buzzing with fresh driver lineups, including several rookies, all eager to make their mark. Fans were treated to a thrilling sight as the excitement of a new season unfolded. Hamilton will launch his bid to win the Drivers' Championship at a third Formula One team when he makes his much-anticipated debut for Ferrari in the season-opening Australian Grand Prix on Sunday. McLaren, however, may be set to steal Hamilton's thunder after encouraging performances in winter testing, with F1 data showing they were quickest on low fuel in Bahrain and had an advantage over Ferrari on race pace. That would have been music to the ears of the Australian fans cheering for McLaren's Oscar Piastri as he looks to become the first home driver to win the race since it was added to the F1 World Championship calendar in 1985. Red Bull finished only third in the Constructors' Championship last season, and after doing the least amount of laps at winter testing, the pace of the car remains to be seen. There will be plenty of interest in how 18-year-old Italian Andrea Chimianotelli fares in his F1 debut for Mercedes, having stepped into Hamilton's huge shoes at the Brackley-based team. Scuderia Ferrari HP Formula One driver Charles Leclerc visited the Puma pit stop at the Melbourne Cricket Ground ahead of the race weekend. The 27-year-old enjoyed a special aerial view of the MCG and Melbourne, standing on the rooftop of the stadium scoreboard. The Puma pit stop gathered some of the most iconic elements of Melbourne, giving Leclerc an exquisite experience of Melbourne's food, fashion and sports. Leclerc met the Australian Football League players Harry Mackay, who's from Carlton Football Club, and Dean Prestia from Richmond, ahead of their first round matchup on Thursday at the MCG between the two clubs. The three athletes, they had some kick around time on the ground, and Leclerc was seen having fun with the ball, learning new tricks and skills from McKay and Prestia. Well, that's it then on this edition of Game On. Before we go, we want to wish all of you a very happy and safe Holi. Goodbye. Thanks for watching.